Jai Srila Bhakti Bimala Avadhut Maharaj ki Jai. Dandavad, dear devotees. I think we are happy to see you all here together. Today we are with Srila Bhakti Bimala Avadhut Maharaj, and please be active, prepare your questions. You may write in chat box or just put up your hand. I will translate in English and I think we can start. Yeah, Narayani, do we start the record version also?
Hello, can anybody hear me? Is that reception good?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we're just driving back from Terracotta Temple in Chiang Mai. We met with our Chinese friends and had little journey to Terracotta Temple, which is an incredible destination built by one artist. It looks like a whole big complex, and he's been building this temple for 51 years. He doesn't speak English, but me history. And my first question was, why did you do that? And he could not answer why. Because now Thailand is a Buddhist country, but previously it was under Vedic worship. The kingdom of Lampung was kingdom of Haripungchai, kingdom of Lana. So it was all ancient Vedic kingdoms where people would worship Vishnu, Narayan, Shiva. And of course, nowadays, you cannot really understand the Vedic culture because it's very complex. And the reason it's very complex because it, affects all ways of our life. Material world, spiritual world, different avatars. So for a common person to understand the spiritual government and cosmic governing body of divinity, it's very difficult. But more difficult to understand the spiritual world of reality, the Vaikuntha. Because we're conditioned souls and we're conditioned by the environment we live in. Like, let's say, supposedly, if you live like a fish in the water, where its own physics and all environment, it will be very difficult for you to understand the bird in the air. However, there are some flying fish, and then fish sometimes jumping out of water and flying on the air. It's quite amazing seeing flying fish, and sometimes when you go to Thailand and ocean for islands, you see these flying fishes coming, and sometimes they're even coming to you, to the boat. But the idea itself that fish can fly, it's very revolutionary for most of the fish. So as we understand that soul, spiritual soul, can exist both in material and spiritual environment, it's very difficult to understand for people who condition but the world they live in. So this man, although he was a great artist and he built all his life temple and dedicated all his resources, and when you look at the size of a project, you'll be very impressed. You would think some king or some, big person did it. But it's actually one dedicated man with a dedicated team. So that's where the power starts, from the consciousness and dedication, the will. So we say divine will. And as Newton's law of physics say that matter remain unmovable until it has impulse. Like when we need to start the car, we need to have a starter, little battery, little motor that's starting the whole car. So you need to give impulse, the energy to start something. Although the soul is immortal by its nature, but being conditioned by Maya, it totally forgets its own identity. So you need some kind of an impulse to start memory back, to bring consciousness back. And then impulsive, the most powerful impulse in reality is sound. So it's the sound vibration which start start our mindset and start our vision. And when it comes to our consciousness, the divine sound name of Krishna, it creates awakening in one's mind and heart. So in the beginning, divine sound resonates within the mind, but really, mind is like artificial intellect. It's totally replacing the function of the soul. But the same mind, as Krishna says in the Gita, can be also turned into spiritual artificial intellect. So the point is not mind your enemy. The point is like how you're using your mind. Are you using your mind for benefit of your inner self, or using your mind for benefit of your outer self? So your outer self is a particular identity built from complicated consequences of your lives, which is bound by different karma reactions. Every actual action has an equal reaction. So interesting that your mind is pushed by impulse, by desires. Desires are coming from the soul, but desires can reflect your physical existence or your spiritual existence. So sometimes when we do a lot of physical enjoyment, material enjoyment, we're losing our spiritual sense. But sometimes when we don't have physical and material enjoyment, we're also losing our sense, because depending on how we condition. So the Jiva soul, the spiritual soul, has an impulse of consciousness. But we need something higher than ourselves to awake the higher consciousness, the higher principles with us. And that higher consciousness, the higher principles, is called Krishna consciousness. So when we are working on Krishna consciousness, we are realizing that the Maha-mantra and the divine power of holy name and Guru and Vaishnavas are a particular environment where we getting that spiritual impulse, the faith, belief, and understanding for our spiritual self, which helping us to reconsider everything about our existence. So why do we have to reconsider that? Because we put our faith into something that is not real, not permanent. It's temporary. And we're using our temporary body, but we're also using our temporary life for temporary things. Somebody may say, well, if soul is eternal, there's millions of lives, what's the point? Well, the point is fulfillment. See, we're trying to fulfill our heart, our soul, but it cannot be fulfilled on physical plane. Yes, we can fulfill our physical hunger, but we cannot fulfill hunger of the soul. We can fulfill our mental hunger, but we cannot fulfill hunger of the soul. So soul has its own divine hunger, which need to be fulfilled. And that hunger is the hunger of love of Krishna. So everything reflection of this spiritual reality. But because we don't realize what is that really is, so we're not able to fulfill to the end our loving tendency towards devotional service of Krishna. So that's our position. It's a very misfortunate position. Mahaprabhu said, Anadi Bahirmukha, misfortunate soul, which been covered by samskara, samsara. But thanks God, he's very kind and merciful. And he comes and follows the soul in form of Paramatma. So it's a very appropriate moment. He would try to awake within and send the impulse of divine nature of the sleeping soul. And that is our fortune with all of us, to receive mercy of Krishna Guru, especially Mahaprabhu. So if anybody has any questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yes, Maharaj, we have a question from Sripad Bhakti Rasananda Tirtha Maharaj. Dandavats to Maharaj and all assembled friends and devotees. And the question is, why is Sri Madhavendra Puri one of the three personalities who have access to the most sacred feeling of love? What is so special about this person?
Well, on one point we can understand Madhavendra Puri is not conditioned soul. Not only his liberated soul, he has a very special participation in Lord pastimes. In fact, he's been chosen by Lord himself to come and test Krishna-prema before even Mahaprabhu appeared. And so not only that, from his disciple Ishvara Puri, Mahaprabhu would accept holy name. That means a spiritual divine personality can not only experience himself highest divine feelings, also he can, he can transmit that Krishna consciousness into some fortunate beings like Ishvara Puri, which is also very special. So Madhavendra Puri is disciple of the great Lakshmipati Madhva. It's called Tattvavadi. But Madhvacharya is partially revealed Krishna's position. Therefore, Madhvas, they worship in Dasyarasa, because Madhva is previous lives Hanuman. And they have a particular distant worship from Krishna, not as Krishna in Vrindavan. That's why they're in Udupi. But Madhvacharya members known as Tattvavadi means those who kept the divine knowledge. That's why Madhvacharya is so important, because he preserved and kept divine knowledge, which has been technically lost in Kali Yuga. You would think Vedic culture, but it was so deep and so vast that the essence of Vedic culture was lost. So Madhvacharya preserved that divine knowledge. And again, as Murari Gupta, he reappeared in Chaitanya as mission. So, and he wrote the biography of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is called Chaitanya Charita in Sanskrit language. That biography has been later partially used by Krishnadas Kaviraj, an amazing book named Chaitanya Charitamrita. So as you can understand, this Madhva-sampradaya is very important. And Madhva himself is like Hanuman, and giving so much support to Lord in different type of pastimes. And through him, Madhavendra Puri received special blessing of being connected with Madhva-sampradaya. But as we know from our teachers and scriptures, that what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought into this world, Anarpita Charan Charit Karunya Avataram, he's the avataram of mercy, but he's also Radha Bhava Duti Subalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. He's also somebody who's carrying his heart the Radha Bhav, feelings of Shrimati Radharani. And feelings of Shrimati Radharani, the exclusive love which are known even to Krishna. That's why Krishna asked Radharani to become Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to follow the footstep of devotees, because Radharani is leader of devotees, and to represent the highest mood of devotion, which is, they understand as Radha Bhava. In other words, there's Krishna-prema, there's somebody feeling prema, love for Krishna. But Radha Bhava, the feelings of Radha, it's even a bit more exclusive than Krishna-prema, because she has the highest ability to experience Krishna-prema. No one can experience Krishna-prema like Srimati Radharani. Therefore, in this sampradaya, the high feelings of Srimati Radharani being given to three people. One is Madhavendra Puri, one is Mahaprabhu, and one is Radharani herself. So Krishna is not included in this list, as Guru Maharaj would say. So even Krishna, in order to experience that highest love for himself, which Radharani feel, if he wants to experience that love, then he has to accept the position of devotee and follow the path of devotion. Okay, that's what I can explain.
Thank you very much for your answer. And we have another one question from Ananta Shesh Prabhu from Spain. Dandavat Maharaj, will all the souls that took the path of devotion will get Krishna-prema in the future?
Well, we pray and we hope that it happens as soon as possible. But if I tell somebody, okay, are you willing to go back to Krishna, but you have to die right now? Somebody will say, oh, I'm not ready yet. Sorry, I'm not going to die today. Maybe later, maybe next Zoom. So, as you understand, although from one point of view, we want to go back to Krishna, but from another point of view, we want to go back to Krishna back on our conditions. We have our own conditions, which we calculate through our own perception. Yeah, maybe I come back to Krishna, but not today. Maybe after, I leave the body like this. And I'm not saying it's wrong, but what I'm saying is everything has a time. And so when the time will come for us, we will go back to Krishna or make next move towards Krishna consciousness. Like you all know, we had a great devotee named Malati. She was an amazing singer. And she's an amazing devotee who did incredible exclusive service. Then she passed away. And some people say, well, why she passed away something like young? But if we consider she's passing physical body and going to higher plane of consciousness, that might be not so bad. I mean, we can't really acknowledge all these things, but if we look from this perspective, from that point of view, supposedly, oh, she passed away, she went back to Krishna. Well, it's not too bad, right? And how we can harmonize, we can just say, her time has come. When the time is coming, then by the power of the Krishna in your time, which is giving to you, you will go to a higher destination if you will continue your spiritual path. Now, the question would be, can you degrade? Can you go to some low level? Yes, you can. By committing some offenses and aparats or some simple activities. But most likely, if you are fortunate enough to continue the spiritual path, you will go upwards. And maybe in this life, you will not reach Krishna, but you'll come to a better place where you can continue your spiritual education. So next question.
Well, devotees, please don't be shy. Put up your hands, write questions in the chat box. And maybe while devotees are thinking, I can ask about this impulse, which we were talking at the beginning, how not to miss this impulse. And is it impossible actually to miss it if there is like some God's will? Maybe should we have some, anxiety in a good sense?
Well, I mean, remember, sometimes we go to zone where bad reception. So when we're self-centered, we go to bad reception zone. But as soon as we step out of this bad reception zone into the association of devotees, then our fortune starts working for us. So the impulse for us could be in different way. It could be spiritual inspiration. It could be a God within you. It could be some devotee to tell you things, or maybe you understood certain things. So it's not just when you do continuous work. Like, I give you an example. I've read some book maybe 30 years ago, and maybe I understood something yesterday. Then should I say, oh, 30 years ago, I did this job for nothing? No. If I would not read that book 30 years ago, I would not be able to understand this thing today. It would just not be within my consciousness and subconsciousness. But when we say about Krishna consciousness, we're not talking about these physical conditions by which, we can remember as a material memory or physical memory. It doesn't work this way. The way things work is, we are on a particular subtle level, subconscious level, realizing certain things. And they reveal to us. It's called belief, it's called faith, it's called experience. So the ancient Gnostics, they talk about gnosis, and they criticize religion because religion forces you to believe in something that you don't experience. But in a deep spiritual practice, you have an experience. So what we're trying to promote is a deep spiritual experience, which give us the impulse for deeper, as Guru Maharaj would say, dive deep into reality. Guru Maharaj was speaking very deep things about how to experience Krishna consciousness rather than just some primitive belief. So we're not saying belief is bad. We say belief is good, but substantial belief, we call it faith. And faith is something different from belief because faith is result of some realization and mercy and sadhana and service. You have to have spiritual path in order to be able to walk that path. But if you don't have a spiritual path, if you're not claiming and traveling, and if you're not building your own spiritual journey, which may not be the easiest way, like the path of the hero. So if you study the storytelling path of the hero, in storytelling, the rule is that in order to become a hero, you must go through different challenges. So if there's no challenges, there's no path of the hero. It's like you can put up T-shirt that you football winner, but if you don't play the football, you're just a winner by your own imagination. So what does it really mean to be a winner? What does it really mean to be somebody who's earning your spiritual path and experience your spiritual life? Вот здесь вот. Она вот здесь. Да, а там дальше ничего. So that's what we're talking about as a shraddha, as the path of okay. So that's what I would say is important for us to understand and realize. I'm sorry, we're just getting out of the car. I'm traveling in the car with our spiritual team from Chiang Mai and Moscow. We have Leela, we have Anjali. So we're
Rasananda Das from Moscow is sending us Dandavats.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj, for your answer. And also, may I ask how to deal with, sometimes excessive empathy? I mean, when we are starting like the path of devotional practice and everything, and when we are surrounded with actually also conditioned souls, but that they do not have, this access, do not have this knowledge, do not have spiritual master, and sometimes it feels like hopeless, like to communicate with these people, but not, I mean, how to not to, well, to feel excess empathy for them, like how to help them, but without like dispersing yourself.
Well, remember, your real life is to, just like we spoke about, to go through challenges. And it doesn't mean that challenges will not be real. So sometimes you'll feel hopeless or helpless. Sometimes you feel you have no energy, no love. Krishna gave up on you. You may feel different feelings, and that's not natural because you're on a path. So, we're not trying to find easy way, but what we know is the help and enthusiasm comes always from the devotees. So when we have our devotional life and we have our own support group, in other words, we support each other and we stay together and we participate, yes, then the help comes from above. Remember, the impulse can come in different ways. The help comes in different ways, but you cannot just, blame the world, blame God. And sometimes when you're covered by your ego and you blame everybody else, then you are alone. Actually, you're never alone. You're always with divinity, you're always with Krishna, you're always with God. And Krishna never left your heart. So when you feel you're alone, when you feel no one helps you, it's just remote feelings because sometimes your ego is closed and you're not inquiring. So universe is very kind, very sweet, very giving, very merciful, and universe is something that always give you hope and always give you a chance. So you cannot think that, oh, Krishna is so the Krishna is like very unkind, or devotees are very bad people. They don't really love you, or they don't like you. Uh, when you open your mind, and the environment is great. So I'm sorry, we're just coming to see some of our friends. So, as you understand, I'm trying to just find some quiet spot. As you understand, we have to always connect with devotees, and based on our devotion and connection with service, we will receive the help. So it's not that world is alone, there's no God. It's very mundane, very materialistic approach. If we have spiritual vision, we can say the divinity is very kind and very great. Oh, great, thank you. So, any other questions?
Yes, we do have one more question from Raja, and it's like, how should one approach the responsibilities or obligations has life imposes on a person? being a good parent, raising children, earning money, or living. It seems as though there is no time left for devotional service. Is it Krishna who set the conditions under which we must improve ourselves? Or are these conditions created by the mind, as you just said, starting service on my own terms?
Well, remember what Krishna is saying, Gita, man manab havamat bhakto, try to remember me. So, we think that by, being responsible for family or having a job is our main problem. But, we remember so many mundane things. So the more and deeper that we go to spiritual consciousness, the more deeper our remembrance of Krishna, and especially his holy name, will start. So Krishna came in Kali Yuga in form of holy name because that's exactly what you described. It's very difficult to work in this world and do some kind of a yoga or spiritual activities, but it's very easy to remember Krishna and surrender to Krishna on any circumstance. So Arjuna had to fight. Arjuna had to become a warrior. So you're not thinking that, oh, because Arjuna had to fight, just remember fighting. It's like very conscious job, because if you make mistake by fighting, you're dead. So think of this: Arjuna had to do incredibly conscious job fighting, but he fight for Krishna. So Krishna said, whatever you do, whatever you participate, offer this to me. So even results of your material activities can be offered to Krishna. But on the highest level, you offer to Krishna something that Krishna like and love. And that's what Krishna something like and love. It's something that comes from devotional service. So if you are staying in association with devotees, naturally you will be involved in devotional service, because life of devotee look like material life. Devotee eat, devotee sleep, devotees doing certain things, but in core of devotee's heart is desire to satisfy Krishna. So that is, technically speaking, why Bhakti Yoga is the yoga for Kali Yuga, because it's not about your physical or eternal conditions. It's about your inner self, which we're trying to culture. And one of the inner self feelings is feelings of Krishna consciousness, surrender to Krishna, believe in Krishna. So sometimes devotee even helpless, just like, sometimes you don't have the power. Sometimes you just have to pray to Krishna.
Thank you very much. And how do you think does Krishna love strawberries?
Krishna love everything, which giving him with devotion. He said, give me leaf, give me water, with devotion. So devotion is conditioned. That's why we offer food to Krishna with tulsi in temples. And we offer everything to Guru, because we don't have power to satisfy Krishna. But we try to offer everything to our Gurudev. And by the mercy of our Gurudev, we continue. And Gurudev will offer to his Gurudev, etc. So that's called disciplic succession. Because we don't have enough divine power to be directly in connection with Krishna. But our indirect connection with Krishna, so the Guru and Vaishnavas, are very strong.
Thank you very much for this reminder, Maharaj. Maybe you'd like to share some plans or news. What are the future projects?
Yeah, we're working on some projects all the time. We're working on India projects. We just been working on China. Came from China. We had 1 month tour in China. So we work in the Mahabharata book. There's a lot of projects going on. And some of these projects are very long, like Mahabharata projects going on for 15 years. And still, it's just the beginning. So some of the projects are not easy to do, not quick. And some small projects, we do step by step. So now is the summertime coming for Vaishnava festivals and programs. So it's quite important that devotees participate in summer programs. Summer programs are great programs for a festival time. And we have many beautiful festivals normally we've done every summer. Now with present conditions in Russia and Ukraine, it's a little bit difficult. But still, we try to do as much as we can do. We've done it for many years, and we'll try to continue as we can do.
Yes, and as I know, Sripad Bhakti-Rasananda Tirtha Maharaj now already starting like active campaign for preparation for Veda Life Festival in Kiev, summer festival.
He's the man. He always does things with enthusiasm and faith. And anybody will help him will be highly fortunate and beneficial.
Dear devotees, we still have enough time to ask or to share what lies on your heart. So please ask your question in chat box or just put up your hand. Okay, we have a question from Sripad Bhakti-Rasananda Tirtha Maharaj. Maharaj, how should we act if the people we preach to trust us and are even inspired to go with us, but they don't trust our teachers who stand above us, our teachers who stand above us?
Who's asking this question?
This is Sripad Bhakti-Rasananda Tirtha Maharaj.
See, because we have our own projections, our own mental projections. And we try to judge something which is higher. So, and we don't have enough faith. It takes some time to believe in something or somebody. So I would say, if we meet somebody who have some appreciation towards what we're doing, naturally he has to ask where it's coming from. Like somebody tell me, oh, Avadhut Maharaj, you know so much. How you know so much? And I will tell very simple, it's all grace of my guru. It's not that I'm such a smart guy. No, it's just the grace of my guru. So if I start speaking like this, then somebody would understand this came from his guru, and from his guru to his guru. It doesn't mean that we all, like Sridhar Maharaj or like Govinda Maharaj. It does not mean that. But it means that we're channeling some mercy, some energy that's coming from our gurus and try to give to others. And if somebody doesn't believe in us, it's okay. But because it's not about us, it's about transmission of spiritual energy. So, if somebody, like, I'm seeing people that have no belief in Govinda Maharaj. And sometimes I preach to them and they say, oh, where are all these amazing things coming? I said, from Govinda Maharaj. So, but you have no faith to Govinda Maharaj because you're not, qualified. It's not that Govinda Maharaj is bad. It's you're not qualified. From one point. From another point, you cannot be divine for everybody. Like let's say you become a monk, but in your own village, everybody know you've done something wrong in the past. They say, oh, we know who you are. But, people always changing and they go up and down. So It's not about the present moment, it's about the past. So my point is, there are different type of people, they have different type of beliefs, and you don't have to serve their beliefs. They have to raise their beliefs. Like, let's say some people don't believe in our Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. Let's say people from ISKCON, or they believe that that there's one way or another way. So you don't disturb these people. You continue your own path. Like, all I'm just trying to say is, like, you try to give an inspiration, but you don't try to influence people who doesn't have desire or faith to be influenced. I mean, I hope I was clear.
Yeah, Tirtha Maharaj maybe will give us some feedback. Are you happy with the answer? Your microphone, please turn on your microphone.
Yes, I understand clearly. Very thank you very much.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's a very philosophical question. Why people don't believe in you? Let's say, if they look at me and say, is this guy yoga master? He's fat. Yeah, then obviously I don't look like yoga master from the perspective of yoga, seeker who's looking for health or physical well-being. But somebody can say, well, he talks about bhakti yoga, it's a different type of yoga. Then, it's a different perception. So everything is according to perception. What's your perception? So everything is about perception, how you perceive things. Anyway, guys, we don't have a long program today. Is already 47 minutes. Let's do another few minutes and finish today, because I have another team coming, and I highly appreciate Narayana, her way to put people together. I was hoping to give a program in Russian tonight. I'm on my way to America. I'm always hoping to do more preaching work in English, but it's not always happens because sometimes very busy with other things we're doing.
So, dear devotees, we have still a few minutes for the last questions or sharings.
I can tell you one more thing. Like, in our mat, we have Tirtha Maharaj, Madhav Maharaj, Sagar Maharaj, Rishikesh Maharaj. Everybody doing as best as they can. But maybe not everybody believe in every one of them. But it's okay. We believe in Govinda Maharaj. We believe in our divine family. So we don't expect everybody being the same. And we're not expect everybody worshiping us like God. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to continue our spiritual life to inspire each other and to move with hope, not hopeless.
Thank you very much for these inspirational words and for your time and participation. Thank you, devotees, for joining us today. Jai Srila Bhakti Bimala Avadhut Maharaj ki jai.
All right, I want to thank you for a very kind way of running this program and being very positive and very open. I think you create very good vibe. I also want to thank Narayani, Tirtha Maharaj, and everybody else who participates. Let's do more of those kind of talks. Next week, I'm flying to America. So let's hope we'll do more programs in America, and we'll just keep supporting each other. See, remember, finally, we're all moving towards one spiritual direction. And our gurus and, Krishna is very kind to us. So let's be forgiving, kind, and faithful to the path itself. And let's be less critical. Critical thinking is very good, but criticism means we're looking for faults in others without seeing what's wrong with us ourselves. So, self-critique is very good. Criticizing, it's called sadhu ninda. It's normally is not very progressive, but it needs some element of criticism is always good. But if it leads us towards proper behavior. Anyway, I love you all. Hare Krishna. Krishna bless you. Thank you for being together, for your spiritual support, participation, and Dandavat Pranam.
And thank you, dear devotees. Please join us in 2 weeks on some another Zoom with some another divine guests. Have a beautiful weekend and wish you all happy day in Seva. Thank you, Narayani, one more time, and Yuvati, of course, for translation.